Hi everyone, this is Jason Zach from Nathaniel School of Music. In this lesson, we are going to look at how you can play a melody along with harmony. So, the melody line, usually as a pianist, you'll be playing the melody with the right hand, and the left hand tends to take over the harmony, as in the chords, and then you'll have a rhythm pattern for the left hand. In this case, using the melody which I played in the beginning of the lesson in the intro, we are going to play the melody as well as the chords basically in the same hand. So you should get an almost finished product with just this hand, and that allows or frees up the left hand to do a lot more for the song or the piece of music you're playing. It'll allow you to incorporate a bass line, to groove, to also play more complex chords, because in the right hand you're playing pretty much triads. At the most you'll play four notes. In the left hand you could play that extra note, so maybe it could be a complex chord with a G bass, and you could get some of the extra or the bigger intervals or the jazz tensions, if you will. Okay, so to do this, we are going to pick a great melody, as you heard in the intro, the Blackadder theme composed by Howard Goodall. If you haven't already, do watch the show. It features Rowan Atkinson as the lead. And we are going to learn the melody on G major, the original scale. I'll walk you through the chords, and then we'll figure out how to actually play the melody with chords in the right hand. And no fancy patterns, no arpeggios, nothing out of the blue. It's just going to be using inversions, and using inversions in a real world way, not just to make your chord changes easy. It's to bring about the melody. So if you understand, or if you were to query or think how this composer would have made the melody of the song, we have strong beats as well as weak beats. The strong beats are usually the beats that last longer. So pam 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 pa. Wherever you find a longer note, it tends to be hit on the one of the bar of whatever time signature you're on. In this case, it's a 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So pam pam two pam 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 pa 2 3. You see, that's the longer one. If you see the notation, also we've mentioned that pam pam pum pum kum 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 ka kum pum pa. So even a suspended chord pa 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 pa, you'll find that the melody line, it lasts on the strong beat, it lasts a longer duration than the weak beats or the other beats, but also the melody line would also be a chord tone of whatever chord is being composed. And if you think about it, that's quite obvious, isn't it? When a song is hurled at you, you'll hear the melody as well as the harmony parallel. So they have to have some link with each other. So the melody usually will borrow a note from the chord, or else you consider it as, hey, I played a G major chord, and then to add on to that, I'm adding maybe a ninth or a seventh or maybe a sharp 11 or so on. But it's still a chord. So you can consider that chord to be, a G major ninth or a G7 flat 9 or something like that, where the flat 9 happens to be the melody line. Okay, so that's what we are going to do in this lesson, and we'll also look at some of the technical challenges along the way. Because imagine this, you have to play melody and chords in one hand. Normal school of thought would be melody right hand, chords in the left hand. But trust me, this is not very advanced a lesson. Even if you're a beginner, I think you can tackle this. So stay tuned till the very end, get your keyboards out, and don't forget to get my handwritten notes with the chord charts of this song, also how we've layered it together to make the one hand do both, and also get the melody of the song notated for you as well. It'll be found on our Patreon. So if you'd like to support us, you can contribute $5 per month. And if you'd like to interact with me as well, clear all your musical doubts, ask me questions, show me your technique for some form of evaluation or critique, you can check out some of the other tiers for as low as $10 or $15 a month. You'll also get video lessons, you'll get a bunch of other things, live workshops, and more. Okay, so before we get started, it'll be nice if you can consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on the bell icon for regular notifications. Let's get cracking. Right, first off, if you don't know it already, let's learn the melody of the Blackadder theme. It changes from season to season, the lyrics keep changing, and the lyrics may have a PG rating, so I better not focus on the lyrics. Even I don't know it because it keeps changing, but it's a great show. So you have a pickup at the and. So and 1, so bum bum and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So it's G major with this very Lydian borrowed note or borrowed chord, which is an A major. We could call it a 2 major. So bum 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 bum. We'll figure out what chord goes there. Let's first learn the melody. I'll do it line by line. Bum 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 bum. Let's do that together. Break it down. Don't forget the pickup at the before the 1. There. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Repeat. So that's your verse, okay? Now, the chords for this would be G major. Now, you might think it's A major, but it's actually a G bass with an A on the top. So if you study this chord with relation to G, as you should generally when dealing with chords, you have a root, you have a 6th, you have a 9th, and you have a sharp 11. Okay, so it's a very complex chord just by not playing A bass. So you might think that's not the chord. So this would be very traditional British style harmony where you have a consistent bass note and then you have the chords running alongside that. Okay, so I'll hum the melody and then let's get the chords going. Da na 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 na. That's A major over G, so we have to figure out how to get the melody line too. Ba-da, ba-da. First get the chords with me. Da-da, ba-bum bum 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 bum. Ba-ba, 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 ba. That's C major over G, third chord. Ba-da, ba-de-de-de-de-de-da. That's pretty obvious because the melody goes la-da. That's G, F sharp, so that's D sus 4 going to D major, and it repeats kind of. Bum 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 bum. Second line. Bum bum. There we go. That's an A minor 7th over G, you could say. A minor 7th is the relative minor of C major. So you could say that all the notes of C major are contained in A minor. So you could play that, and it is played in the second half. Okay, now how do we get the melody line alongside this? Now one way is just play it as it is. But stride the note. So play a low G and decide how you would like to stride, whether you want to go all the way here or just here. This is one technique which I find pianists doing a lot. Even I work on it when I practice. So there we go. This might be a bit tougher than what I'm actually proposing to teach in this lesson. Anyway, let's do it with stride now. So this is a very left hand heavy technique. Your right hand is way easier than the left hand. So now let's just try and play the same melody with the chords in the right hand. So you need to kind of tell your left hand either just play chord roots, or until you work it out, don't play yet for the left hand. So here's what you can do. You play pam pam on the landing notes, on the strong beats, on the notes that are longer in duration. Slam the chord. So the chord here is G major, but I want the melody to be on top, right? Pam pam. So pinky finger or whichever, the top finger on G, and you invert the chord. As you know, each chord has 3 positions, triads at least: root, first, second. So which inversion has G on the top? The first inversion, right? So you figure out the inversion to make sure to retain the melody line on the top. This is also a very classical guitar style of playing, because classical guitarists have to kind of do all of this with just a few fingers, and the whole fretboard is arranged almost in a grid-like manner. So you are kind of wired to play chords whether you like it or not. So if you look at the chords, why not figure out the last few strings to also bring about the melody line? So that's the idea here. And as I said, the remaining notes, you don't bother much about the chords, because inevitably those will also be chord tones, or those would be passing tones, or movements to the next chord. So pum 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 pum. In this case, these are all G major chord tones. So pum 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 pum. So once you slam the chord, you're fine. You can move on to the tune exclusively. Pum 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 pum. Now at that C sharp, I would like to play A major with the, what inversion is this? Roots in the middle. So second inversion of A major. Pum 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 pum. So I immediately jump my hand. 3, 4. C major, first inversion. I hope you're getting the idea now. Bum, ba, bum, ba, da, de. You can hit C major again if you like. Bum, ba, bum, ba, da, 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 da. Those are passing notes to the next chord. Bum, ba, da, da, de, de, do. So you have to jump your hand le, de, 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 to play a D suspended 4 with its inversion. Instead of playing root, you'll have to play the inversion, but also look at it as an A quartal chord. So this is what we have so far. And you can still play around with the melody. You can still express yourself, because you still have about 2 or 3 fingers free. It's just the other 2 notes which are playing the remaining notes of the chord, you know. Don't worry about the G, because you have your left hand coming up, right? Pum 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 pum. Check that out. Pum 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 pum. I can re-invert C major if I'd like another chord hit. Or D sus 4 to D is what's there in the song, but I could so easily do a G to the D, which would be a plagal cadence. Again. Now I'd like a couple of hits per chord, so you decide. That's 1 hit. What if I want 2 hits? It's actually easier to play C major with a double hit. It's a little bit of finger juggling. It sounds beautiful once you get it. Let's do that slowly. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 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 2 and 3 and 4. And now let's bring in the bass just to play the root notes and keep a nice pulse going. It's a very brass heavy song, so you have that the horns doing its thing. Bum 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 da-da-da-da-dum. Bum 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 bum. Even D sus2. If you'd like, you can do like a D7 sus4 and then resolve it. So you should check out the notation for at least a version that I want you to at least play. So let's move on. Bum, 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 bum. Still on G. Repeat. Now you want to get an A minor 7. So bum 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 ba. Okay, and now let's move on to the second part of the song, which is the chorus. So let's get the melody first. Blackadder, Blackadder, da de 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 de. Repeat. Blackadder. Come down to G. Bum 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 bum. First time. Bum 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 bum. Or bum 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 bum. If you want to get what the trumpets are doing. So let's do it in the left hand with the chords, just to show you with blocks. Blackadder, G major. Blackadder, D minor. D, A minor, sus, resolved. Blackadder, G major. Blackadder, C major, add 9. D, A minor, or da 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 da. And second time, Blackadder, G major, Blackadder, C major. A minor, D major, G major. That's a 2-5-1 at the end. A, D, G, A minor, D, G, da da da. Okay, and again some very good modal modulation here. Blackadder, Blackadder. So he goes not to a 5 major, but to a 5 minor. In the verse, the interesting thing was the 2 major, making it very Lydian. You're kind of borrowing the 2 major from the Lydian. And now, when you're using the D minor, you're borrowing the 5 minor from the G mixolydian scale, just for here and there. So let's get the chords back on track. In the right hand. So Blackadder. You could do Blackadder. The top note is D, then the top note becomes B, or just keep one. Blackadder, Blackadder. Let's do that together. Blackadder, Blackadder. Then Da minor. You have to do a high D, not this older D sus4, which we did in the verse, because the singing goes whole of the first line. This is how I would play it. And you have this inner voicing, which is 4 down to 3, which is not sung, it's just played by the instruments. The singing holds on to that D. Blackadder, Blackadder, de do 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 do. So that's C major, implied C major, without that C at the top. So I'm omitting the C because anyway I'll play the C in the bass. A minor in first inversion to get that melody line going. Another inversion of D sus4 to support the melody. Then Blackadder, Blackadder, repeating. Second time. Blackadder, A minor. So that's like a D7 sus4, or you could even play a D7th, or la la re, or la la re if you want. Okay, so the left hand so far has just been playing the roots, which is more than enough. But now, because of this technique, and if you practice it well, your right hand is freeing up the left hand from the burden or duty of playing chords. It can. So what else can it do? It can, for starters, hold a steady pulse. For the verse, for instance. And it doesn't mean that your right hand can't have its fun. Whenever there's a gap to fill, you can kind of get some of that trumpet stuff. Whatever it might be, we can maybe, if you want me to teach you the trumpet part, let me know in the comments. There's a lot of it throughout the seasons of Blackadder. And then, but for now, I'm just trying to maintain a steady pulse with maybe an octave. So the piano is functioning as a bass instrument. So the piano is now functioning alongside these octaves, especially as a bass instrument, just like a cello or a bass guitar or whatever it might be. You can also add some grooves, like or just fill up the chords if you want to play a ballad style, and then you can play spread chords in the left hand as an arpeggio, and the right hand can probably go a bit higher so that it can support and be able to play the melody. There. And then C major. Or you can stride. Or you can think of a bass line. Following the song, I guess. Then. Some counterpoint there. Melody is going down. Bass could go up. Can do a pass there. And no fear of the harmony or the chords being lost, because your right hand's doing that, right? Ending. jump your bass notes a lot. So in simple words, I'm trying to say that this technique will allow your left hand to think like a bass instrument. So it's two hands almost playing, or they are kind of playing like two instruments, the roles of two instruments. At least the right hand is already two instruments, if you want to argue. It's the melody and the harmony, and the left hand is the bass, or the bass with the groove. It could also follow the groove of the song. So try this maybe with other songs. Maybe start simple with a nursery rhyme or a folk song, or a song that you enjoy. I This is just a song that I enjoy. It's a show which I enjoy watching. So all the best with this, and a reminder to pick up the notation and the handwritten notes on Patreon. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave us a comment with stuff that you'd like to learn, and we'll be happy to consider it for a future video. And if you'd like to learn a course at Nathaniel School of Music, do consider visiting our website, nathanielschool.com. You'll find a link in the description, or fill up a form to reach the course advisor directly. I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.